Well, there you are again. Charlie Greer podcast again. Duh, I do this every day. Today, more hillbilly knowledge. That's what I'm best at. Feel more comfortable talking about the. Cheers. I'm in black coffee. I'm sober. It's 7:10 in the a.m. Oh yeah. Here we go. Hillbilly knowledge. Well, see, you gotta. Or hillbilly advice, I should say. Well, what you doing wrong there, see? Hillbillies love to give advice. Well, you just done it all wrong. You need to get a. Most of you people are thinking, well, nobody's watching this, but most people like hate hillbillies. It's been like, it's probably the worst of the word. Yeah, hillbilly. Well, I'm sophisticated and advanced. Sure you are. I do this early in the morning. I'm kind of loud, and there's like high wooden floors, and I wake up my neighbors. My neighbors like, are you the one? It's me. That's right. That's another hillbilly thing to do. Wake people up the crack of dawn doing something. Yeah, that's what. So more hillbilly knowledge. Don't people like miss their grandparents? Even if you're not, you could be from New York City. Just people seem to be not as let's just say smart. I'll leave it at that. They just don't seem to have any. They always talk about something they just saw or read on their phone, and think about it. When the electricity goes out, man, uh, and you can't charge your phone or tablet, your computer don't work because the Wi-Fi is no electricity. What are you gonna do? You better get to the grocery store and break that window, get in there and steal as much Skittles as you can eat. Hillbillies, on the other hand, know what wild flowers to eat, and you can deep fry dandelion. There's this stuff we know. Y'all will be. We're gonna be like Alfred Einstein's. Hey, y'all gonna be begging. And of course, we'll help out, give you a little bit. And when the food, so you got to think about, okay, like ancient times, like people living in the desert, man. They were living in the desert. What were they eating? Like, what were these? They're eating dates and peanuts and dried stuff that won't spoil, easy to carry. Say canned goods and Skittles ain't gonna do it. You lost your can opener again? Are you serious? That kind of thing. Better be stockpiling, heavily knowledge for you. Stockpiling peanuts and rice and dried beans, and you just never know. Again, it's not even a war or anything break out. We're just talking about like a good tornado or a storm, or the grid goes down. Who knows? It's not if but when these things happen. See, that's why we have fire departments, because it's not like if but when the fire is going to break up. We have volunteer fire department. Hey, fires happen, but oh no, not to me. Yeah, to you, me, everybody. Shit. But even when I was a teenager, I was kind of like rebelling against my hillbilly ways, and I wanted to go to the city, start a band, and they're always needing somebody, a hillbilly to help. My tire's flat. What should I? My car ain't running. I don't know. Some hillbilly, your grandfather. Well, it's your thermostat. See, let's fix that right now. Go on now, get that, and then say, well. And again, this is before they engineered cars where you couldn't really work on them. Some other hillbilly knowledge I was given by my old folk. They're like, look, pop the hood. You look down through the motor. If you can't see like ground, it's this extra stuff you don't need. Don't buy that car. And I still to this day kind of remember that. And then again, now car, it's just a big man. You can't see the ground, or there's stuff in there you don't need. Extra stuff like sensors and computer chips and the most expensive stuff in them, and they're always going to go out. But hillbillies, I mean, a lot of movements were started by hillbillies, man. Rock and roll's a total hillbilly. I mean, Elvis was a hillbilly. Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, hillbillies. Okay, like Superman hillbillies, kind of. I mean, the blues circuit, the Chitlin circuit, they called it. That's where rock and roll come from, man. I mean, hey, again, I mean, life was tough back then. My grandparents on both sides knew how to survive. I mean, they had shit going down, and they had Camp Fonique and whatever. Could sew you up. I mean, they could give you stitches. Never went to school. Didn't have a college degree. Serious, man. In the small town I lived in, the doctors, they were moving from Massachusetts and they living in this small town. They needed these hillbillies. Oh, yeah, it's flooded. Oh, your pool's flooded again, huh? Full of mud, and you need a. Done told you not to put it on the flat ground. Hey, that kind of thing. That I miss. I mean, I hate that. Shit. Everybody thinks they know everything now, and they really don't, and they contradict, like, no, and interrupt. Oh, no, no, no. And of course, nothing can happen to them, yet everything happens to them. You ever know this about people? Oh no, not me, dude. It's all, everything happens to you. You name it, it's happening, and they don't learn by their mistakes. That's another hillbilly. They learn, hey, I ain't gonna do that again. People repeat the same mistake. We all do to a certain extent. Like me starting smoking again. I quit for 11 years. It was tough to quit. Yeah, I'm pointing the finger at me too. I'm not exempt from anything. That's another thing I'm talking about. People think, oh, I say I have this knowledge. Dude, we're all pretty much, we have different, we're unique and everything, but we are human and we make mistakes. And we're a bunch of dumbasses. We need each other. We need hillbillies, man. We need people that just had, I just, even my grandparent, like my grandmother, both of them just knew, like kind of like Sue said, see, if you do that, then and they had foresight. They're like pool players or something. They're like, well, I'm four shots ahead of you there. The stupid stuff. If you run across that grass and get stung by a bee, no, I won't, Grandma. And then he gets stung by a bee. Just simple stuff. Of course, a lot of hillbillies want to tell you what to do. That's a human nature too. Well, actually, that's what you got to do. Are you a hillbilly? Do you have any hillbilly ways? Do you know any hillbillies? Maybe, perhaps. We shall see. Again, when the electricity goes out, a lot of people didn't have electricity, didn't have plumbing. Even into the 80s, man. I do. We had people living around. They had an outhouse. I mean, no electricity, using candles and um. What? Of course, we're not going to see any outhouses anymore. Maybe we will. But one thing about outhouses is bees and especially wasps. They love the outhouse. You got to be careful. There's always a snake or something. Watch out! There's a raccoon in it. The last time I used an outhouse was probably 82, maybe. Uh, Not a neighbor, but a guy down the road from my grandma, Um, we would walk his drive. He had a big gravel. It was like a gravel road or driveway, and he had an electric fence. Sometimes we'd hop that, and then uh, we had our pellet gun, just shooting at anything. And I was like, "How does she use the outhouse?" It was the scariest thing. I mean, what the hell? And it literally had a door with like a crescent moon on it. This old outhouse. Again, wasps, some kind of critter underneath. I saw a snake because we think like yesterday. My podcast was is space fake? Dude, that's the last thing on your going to be on your mind when you need to find shit to eat, because it boils down to like food and water and shelter. Like that's the kind of things that hillbillies concentrate on because they know there's this pattern in life, a rhythm, whatever you want to call it. Well, you have to know how to survive. There ain't going to be any sour gummy bears or whatever. Reese's peanut butter cups. But I'm sure my grandma could make one. She's going to find a recipe and get some flour and cocoa powder. And of course, she's going to put lard in it. Lard. That's another thing. Lard. My grandmother, she lived to damn near 100, eating lard and everything. It's a big white, looked like butter, but it's a big and white. It was just lard. She's thinking, scoop that and put it in the soup. And what are you doing, Grandma? Well, I'm making my pie crust. You need lard. Lard and pie. And it's supposed to be sweet. Well, that's it. And of course, she's known for her pies. My pies, well, everybody knows, man. Chocolate pie, pecan pie, every kind of pie you can imagine. And she was so funny. She would cook for us like 3 times a day, have something going on. I say like for dinner, she'd be like, "There's fried corn and okra and poke salad, pork chop, of course, cornbread and fried potatoes and sliced tomatoes and sliced onion, green onion, every kind of onion you could imagine." And then we all get a plate. And she goes gets like ice cream. She would eat ice cream and like these like wafer things. Like, and my grandmother, Ruth, you've got to. No, I'll just be. So we'd be eating the best. Man, she cooked. It was amazing. Both of my grandmothers on each side were they could throw up a mess of whatever. Teaching me how to make cornbread. Teaching me, always teach you. Come in here. You got to. That's what I mean. I learned a lot of my smarts in the kitchen. Like they were in the kitchen. My mother's mother, well, that's where they were at all the time, the kitchen. And the kitchen was kind of big and long, and they had they had a big table at the end, and then all these like shelves with their cans, and then sometimes they're like, stay in the kitchen, like you weren't allowed. And a lot of times I didn't want to go around because I might have to go ring a chicken. They made us all learn how to ring a chicken, how to take the feathers out and boil it, get out that. I was crying. I don't want to. Or just like, I like this, but don't tell me what it is, because as soon as you do, it'll freak me out. I don't know. I'm including myself when I say this. Everybody seems to be so, just, hey, bring it down a few notches. Just mosey on around, and we seem to act like we're, I'm not saying better than others, but I'm guilty of it too. I mean, we just, we're getting away from that. Hillbillies are funny. Like back in the day when, oh, bless his heart, that means you're a dumbass. Okay. I don't know if you know that or not, but oh, bless his heart. Because somebody do something. Oh, bless his heart. I mean, you dumb, stupid motherfucker. I mean, that's what that means. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So little things, you learn something every day. but just our attitudes. We all need an attitude adjustment. We all go, oh, see, I got 1,000 channels and a computer, and dude, are you learning anything? I mean, I've been YouTubing how to can, and because I know that shit's about to. Me and my friends were talking. Okay, next spring we're gonna start a garden. I'm thinking about buying some cheap land in the middle of nowhere. Um, build a mud hut. Who knows? Just um, getting back to the earth, getting back to people, getting back to faith, getting back to helping one another out. You know, of course, everyone loves to gossip. There ain't no more gossiping than hillbillies. Well, he, and then so they know everything, especially in a small town. Oh my God. You think people don't know. They know. That's all they're talking about, except when you're around. You show up, oh, bless your heart. They know. Well, she's done run around. Hey, well, have. We need some of that because for what I bought a TV, but I haven't even hooked it up. I mean, TV. When I watch TV, it makes me depressed. If I sit around all day watching TV, there's nothing worse, man. Granted, I'll be on my laptop all day, but it's something about I can switch and learn something. See, that doesn't seem as bad because I'm always on a quest for knowledge. That's another hillbilly thing. I want to know things, a bunch of stuff. I want to know all that stuff. So we've kind of gotten away from somehow we think we're protected or someone's gonna save us. You better save yourself, man. You better because again, people are people. Unfortunately, there's not enough cops around. When everybody's acting fine and there's only a few people acting up, well, the cops can deal with that. But when everybody's hungry and the electricity's out and people that you know are going to be acting like you've never seen. Hey, I've never seen them act. Oh, yeah, you too. You're going to be acting. I'm starving. I'm going to be. So we've got to, know our neighbors even. Just kind of communicate. Just be hillbilly. Again, more hillbilly knowledge. You got to know who, what, where. Again, not being nosy. There's nobody nosier than a hillbilly. I mean, they just say, what are you all doing? What you been up to? Well, I don't know. I'm just asking. And my grandfathers, that just kind of sitting there, not saying much, but they know how they wait for you to. my grandfather Willard, he could. I mean, he little dude too, tough, just but sweet. I mean, but you didn't want to piss him off. I mean, he was again, I always want to mow the lawn. That's what mowing the lawn. I just mowed the lawn. Mow it again. Again, I've been mowing lawns since I could walk. Like this big thing, loud. I'm bored. Mow the lawn. I ain't bored. I'm gonna go run. Now I get back. Then finally, I found out like people get paid to mow lawns. Well, you are getting paid. I'm feeding you. I'm just that means you got some shoes and. But I mean, because I had chores to do. One of the things about when I'd go stay with my mother's my mother's parents, my grandparents on my mother's side, was you would go there, say for spending the weekend. I knew it was like, oh man, come on, no, I don't want to go because as soon as you get there, drop your stuff down. All right, you got to go with so and so. I'm like, what? I don't know how to do that. Well, you'll learn. But the last time they threw me in the itch weed, it'll be fine. We'll get some salve. We and on my mother's side, they were bootleggers. That's what they did. That's a bank and booze, shine. That's how you get by. I mean, they were known for their shine. I mean, that's what people do. That's what you bootleg. That's where the NASCAR comes from. Because you had to rebuild a motor to drive away from the cop. You couldn't do a little truck. No, you had to do something. Change motor mounts, put a bigger motor. just so you could get back from Kentucky to to sell your shine or booze or whatever. We're making I don't even know, because that's before my time. I remember we were having a family reunion on my mom's side, and we all the cousins. That's when you see your cousins, and I had a shit ton of cousins. Like, you can't remember names. It's like a battalion element of cousins, and of course, like, get out of the house, go do, and they say, look, go out the back, jump the fence, okay, get this big field in the wood. You go back, you'll find, just look. There's an old Indian settlement there. And we got dogs with us, just walking around the wood. And we came up on this, like, what the hell is this? Um, and came back. We're like, hey, we just found this. Well, that's where we used to bootleg. That's where we shine. That's where we found on my uncle's pot patch or whatever. We pulled them back. We found some fruits or vegetables. That ain't that's put that down. Again, good times. I miss those times, man. Uh, Something was always going on. There was a bunch. I mean, this little house. How many bedrooms? It was like 3 small bedrooms. I mean, small, a bathroom, and then upstairs they made that into it with all bed. And my mother, I think, had like 7 or 8 brothers and sisters. There's a mess of them, man. Then they have kids, and they have. I mean, shit. And quite honest, this is some hillbilly shit right here. Growing up, I had an uncle, which I thought was my uncle. Turns out he was my cousin. See, there's one of my aunts back then. If you were out of wedlock and having a baby, well, we sent her off. And then when she came back with the baby, my grandmother claimed it was her child. And shit. I was already in my teens when I found that. I shouldn't say, but I didn't name any names. You can figure it out. And kind of people were pissed. He didn't know, I guess. I reckon. And they always had something going on. Like, they just they cleaned tour buses because they were right outside of Nashville, and they would clean the tour buses for these people. And then my grandparents on my father's side, Willard and Winnie Root, they had Greer's, which was a restaurant, little small restaurant. There's only like 10 things on the items on the menu, like T-bone steaks and hamburgers and salad and French fries. There weren't much on there. I have somewhere an old menu from and it was only the 2 of them. Get up at the crack of dawn. See, they open at 5, so I got to get up at 3 or 4. Look, it was literally in the backyard. You walk down this small hill, and bam, there was a restaurant. And they built them both, like in the 52 or something like that. They built the restaurant and the house for a total of $5,000. But with 2,500, 25, huh? And then they ran that until like for 30 years, like in the 80s, they closed that. My grandfather's legs were like, your nerves are dead, Willard. You got it. He had to wear like metal thing. He hated not to. And then they tried to get somebody to run it for him, but my grandparents were just, they ain't doing it right. Say they probably drove those poor people to, they were probably doing okay. It just, no, you're not doing it. And my grandfather, he was known for his T-bone steaks. Everybody loved his T-bone. And he would just put, what's the secret? Butter. That's what the secret was. He had this like butter stuff, and he would just squirt it on him. The flat thing was like not a grill, but and he would squirt that down, put the hamburger patties on, the steaks, flat, the bomb. Awesome. I wish I could eat his food again, man. And he was, I mean, shit, he was in World War II. By the time he was like 12, he was running like a fourth of the farm in Jamestown, Tennessee. I mean, he just had mules, and I've been kicked by a mule. They never killed me. Don't walk behind the mule, Charles, Dad. That's a boom. Of course, everybody's laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Just, and and then running every hillbilly holler. Uh, that's another hillbilly knowledge. You got to know where things are. You got to know every road, every dirt road, how to get to every kind of. We were on the go, especially when we got to like 15 or 16. But we still see. There's certain things you have or people you need to know in certain areas. You can't go to certain places if you don't know. And of course, I was cousins with you. I wouldn't even know. We're cousins, huh? Never met you. Yeah, well, see, you and your grandma and my grandma, they were first cousin, and they did what? Huh? That kind of shit. Then when you get older, everybody has their own thing to do. You kind of lose touch with people. My best friend when I was a kid, by the time I became a teenager, we were doing different things. I was growing my hair long. He was playing football, but we'd see each other in the hall at high school and be like, "Hey, man," like people like, "How do you know him?" Like, dude, we were best friends growing up. We still had that bond, but it was just like people change. You just want to. Of course, every once in a while, I'd go down there and talk to his parents, and another hillbilly thing is other people's parent like whip you. You do something stupid, like you get a spanking. Come home, I got a spanking from so. Well, good for you. He should have. Yeah, I'm gonna have to thank him. Now you would be in. Everybody be in jail. He spanked my kid. He'd be all over the news. Doxing him or her, the mother. And again, when we were little kids, we would just, can we cook? Yeah, all right. Then we just cutting potatoes and onions and got some lard and frying it, just salt and pepper, a little bit of, that hot vinegar, whatever they had. Again, they were doing stuff with vinegar, like uh, fermenting things and fried green tomato, yeah, everything. We would cook. We would just, all right. There was no ice cream. Again, this is in Smithville, Tennessee. There wasn't like an ice cream man or you just went out and of course we would run everywhere. We was running in the creek and uh, just everywhere. Going to the Five and Dime and you know, rescuing cats and dogs and God knows what else. I got another dog. No, don't bring any more dogs. Another thing about hillbillies, they're okay with cats. They knew better about cats because cats can have disease. I mean, everybody loves a cat, but cats will get you sick if you live like a hillbilly. Granted, everybody had cats. That outdoor cat. I mean, there would be so many cats, and then their babies, and this that. Well, that's. But in the house, it was just like my grandmother always had a little Chihuahua, Tinkerbell. She had Tinkerbell forever, like 25 years or something. This is another hillbilly thing. We had a dog graveyard in my grandmother's backyard. And Tinkerbell actually had like a real stump, like it was marble, Tinkerbell. The other dogs just had like a piece of concrete with their name kind of. My dad's dog growing up was named Slop. Slop, good old Slop, got hit by a car, bless his heart. So as a kid, it was kind of on the hill, but under this tree, kind of a sloped where we had the dog graveyard. And they'd be like, okay, you go clean that up. You go clean up Tinkerbell. You know what? Just peel all the weeds and take this thing. And I just hang out. It was cool. It was a hot day. Just kind of lay there in the dog graveyard of my grandmother's backyard. Can you even do that now? Is that zone? There's no zoning. You can't see the code. We give you a fine here. You can't bury no dog. Hell, we would just dig a hole and throw a dog. I mean, how many dogs were in that graveyard? Minimum of 5, might have been 10. I don't know, because a lot of them would just just a rock on the. But Tinkerbell, she had like a real tombstone. My grandmother loved Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell hated us, like biting our face. And we were so young, we called her Doot Jute Bell. We couldn't say Tinkerbell. So we came up with Doot Jute Bell. You think that's harder to say? Doot Jute Bell. And my grandmother had just as many pictures of Tinkerbell as she did with us. And of course, Tinkerbell didn't like us. She was just my grandmother's dog, this little itty bitty, mean as a snake, but I love her. So that's where I come from. That's who I am. If I try to do anything but that, it's going to show. I've got to be my hillbilly self. I mean, yeah, I've learned other things and I've lived here and I did this and that, but I can't hide from that. I've tried to run, no. And then when I was like, you know what, I'll just do my music. That's why I could sing. I learned to sing in church. I mean, I could sing better than people because this hillbilly knowledge I had. And also this drive that comes with, I'm just going to do it. Everybody's lazy, playing Dungeons and Dragons. No. Getting minds. I might even, because I'm going to start doing this twice a day, I might even have like a hillbilly knowledge, like reoccurring. Yeah, I'm going to do that because I feel comfortable talking about it. And I just, again, use what you got. That's the hillbilly right there. Oh, what I got. That's what I got. Use that, perfect that. Don't try to be doing and be honest. That's another hillbilly thing. Don't be lying. Of course, we embellish. Well, I'm the best there's ever been. Yeah, of course you are. But I'm talking about people. Don't you know? Hillbillies know when you're lying. We don't know all the tales. You did that thing with your, half bit. Gee, I can feel it in my gut. We need to get back to that self-efficiency. We need it like self-sustainable stuff. Like you know how to grow a garden. You know how to, fish and hunt. Where do you think you think that the grocery store now it's all these mass farms and, right now where I'm at, the breadbasket in Illinois, there used to be a co-op. So we got corn. So in the winter, we need strawberries and avocado. They would trade. Like, okay, we need corn. You need that, but that. Now it's all owned by these corporations. Well, corporations we don't trade. That's not our bylaws or whatever. So we can't get dude around. Even if corn is like $1 a piece of corn, just looks all not even as good as it used to be. $1. Minimum 4. So you got to buy 4, huh? And there isn't that much. There used to be corn in the front yard. There's a sign made out of cardboard. We need to get back to that. Well, I'm off to work. I got to get out of here. I love y'all. I do this every day. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Be blessed. Cheers.